Music Friday, man. We got new music. What up, Coop? How you doing?
What up, fam? What's good? What's good,
Everything good.
everybody?
Everything's great, man. We're getting everybody in the room. We're gonna be talking about this new Jay and Nipsey record. Oh man, what was your first reaction on it? Why we getting everybody in the room?
To the Jay Nipsey record,
Yeah,
I thought it was very comparable to the Rick Ross Nipsey record. Sounded very similar, like seemed like the same drum pattern almost.
it did.
Um,
It. I mean, obviously it wasn't the same sample, but it was the same mood. It kind of had that whole mood that a Rick Ross record would have.
this felt less organic than that record, so I liked the other record better, even though Jay's verse might be better than Ross's verse.
Well, I
Like that,
mean,
that
I think the less organic feel is probably the fact that, I think that Rick Ross and Nipsey were working on that while Nipsey was alive. And, this was kind of one of those posthumous collaborations, and that
oh, see,
always kind of has a weird feel.
I didn't know that. See, I didn't know they were working on that live. It feels more organic. I like the record much more because of that. Like you can kind of feel that. Like if that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to everybody coming in the room. Have y'all heard the new Jay Z and Nipsey record that is on the Judas and the Messiah soundtrack? Is that the name of the soundtrack?
Yeah, that is the name of the soundtrack. Let me check just to be sure. Judas and the Black Messiah.
And the
We got
Black
to get it.
Messiah, I apologize. Yes, yes. But and also on there, you can't have a Jay Z release without having a Nas release and vice versa. Nas has a record on there called EPMD. What did you think about that song off top?
I thought it was a solid record. I mean, I tried to explain this with King's disease. I think for those of us who want to hear that super lyrical Nas, like that guy is gone. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's mostly because he's not concerned with being that guy anymore. I think you want to know what's funny? I think he's taking the criticism of the inconsistency that has plagued him at times and made it a point to make himself more of a well-rounded song maker. And so what you find for him in these stages of his career is well-formed and formatted songs with thoughtful hooks. And his rhyme pattern has changed in the last few years, actually, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of like tried to update his formula a little bit. He doesn't rap the same anymore. Like flow wise,
Yeah.
like his flow's not the same. He's gotten more choppy,
Let me
like
get.
intentionally.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And you can hear the drums is different, and obviously it's updated. I think that's what we were talking about offline. You were saying that basically Nas sounds updated. Shout out to everybody in the room. Drake Patton says, "Yo, what up?" We got Cynthia and
Like,
Young in here.
hey, Mike,
Yeah, what's up?
this is the first time he's been updated or cared enough to be updated. It's like I know we're going to talk about. I mean, we can get into the whole Hit Boy thing, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like I told you. It's like I don't know if it's. I don't know how great the beats are. Hit Boy is giving Nas inherently. I told you, like
Mm-hmm.
outside of 27 Summers and Spicy, I don't think any of those other beats are like per se phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But something about it makes Nas sound more up to date. And so
Mm.
it's working, even though it may not be what we want to hear, because what we want to hear, I mean, we want to hear Nas rapping over Havoc, Alchemist, and Primo tracks because it brings that shit out of him that we really want to hear. But what this is doing is kind of like, it's the first time it seems like he's gave a damn enough to like update his sound, update his flow, like,
I
you
agree.
know? Yeah,
Darius
like it's
Jackson
pretty.
says that Nas joint is fire. What up, Darius? Andre Shashir says that Nas shit was fire. Shout out to Andre out there. Theron says, man, that Nipsey and Jigga track is nice. Sounds like Jay of old. Mike Littman said that Jay and Nipsey collaboration is definitely solid. You got Buddy over here that says, one love to Nipsey from Australia. Blue Benz was phenomenal. Listen, off the top,
Mike,
I want to ask, what song? I mean, we got to ask. It's according to hip hop. What song do you think was better, the EPMD song from Nas or the Nipsey and Jay collaboration? I know it's not totally fair. We got two people on the record as opposed to one.
hold on,
So
Hold on, shout out to fam from Australia, Mike. When we were talking offline, Blue Benz was the third track that I bought up, was it not? As far as like the Hit Boy beat that was banging.
Yeah.
So it's like shout out to Australia. Blue Benz was my third track that I thought was like beat wise the best after 27 Summers and Spicy. As far as song to song, Mike. So this what I'm about to say is, I think, going to get into what we're going to talk about further on the
I was
J
going to
side.
say, y'all stay tuned. We're going to talk about a lot tonight. You know what I mean? Because Darius just said...
I'm excited about the show, Mike. Like, this is the first show I've probably been excited about more for what we're going to talk about that, like, isn't, like, album or music review driven.
Right.
Yeah.
But Darius just said something we're about to get into. I want to read his comment real quick. I don't want to cut you off. He said, being a Nas fan and being from the South, I always wanted to hear him have more of his East Coast beats. We're going to get into that conversation, too, tonight, too. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
So, remember when we did our Greatest MC thing, and I told you I lined up, like, all of Rakim's songs, best songs, and I lined up all of like Nas's songs, and I lined up Jay's songs. I told you it was harder with Jay because a lot of his best stuff is guest appearance stuff. This track feels a little piggyback. I think the track, if we're just measuring out the track to track, I think the Nipsey J track is a little bit better. But here's what I'm talking about. The beat is better, right? Isn't the beat better?
Yeah.
The beat is better, and you got Nipsey. And Nipsey sounds dope on there, too. So that's Nipsey and Jay in a doper beat up against Nas. So it's like it's not totally a fair fight. But here's what I keep saying about, like, Nas, the songwriter now. I told you, that hook to that song is dope. The EPMD shit, like, the reason why niggas is saying that shit is fire is because, like, Nas used to give you songs like this, but he wouldn't give you the hook. He's giving you songs like this with the hook now. And so degree of difficulty is higher. So I'm not going to lean on Nas because I think Nas is better. The degree of difficulty is clearly higher. The beat's not better, and he's for Dolo like he usually is.
Yeah.
And Mike, just because we're talking about them both tonight, some of the things that we're going to talk about, you're going to see why I'm skewed in Nas's favor over Jay's.
Definitely.
And this is without the new information, but just what you're seeing happen. What you're seeing happen on those two tracks is part of the reason why I favor Nas. Is it's like, well, look at all the help Jay had, and look at Nas over there for Dolo. The tracks are comparable.
Now, you know what? I will give you that. And off the top of my head, I was going to say, you know, I like the Jay and Nipsey record better. But I do agree with you in the fact that Nipsey and Jay record was probably already completed. Jay went in there and went over the top. We had like a 24-bar verse.
Yeah, he had time.
Yeah.
No,
and it sounded like
and he had time, like in the bars.
Exactly. And Nas was kind of just dialing it in, like Nas normally does. I mean, whenever these guys collaborate, right, from Black Republican to even the song that's on the BBC song that's on Holy Grail, it's like Nas will come in with a regular verse just doing his thing, and then Jay comes in like on some. What you know about going out head west, Red Lex TVs, all up in the headrest, makes niggas in Madison Square go. It's like, yo, hold up, man. Like, and that's what this felt like too. It's like, you know, he's on this soundtrack too, and Nas treated it like a regular song. And Jay goes in like, and
Mike, I mean, we're gonna talk about this too. I don't think Nas doesn't. Okay, so what you hear consistently from Jay. And what you don't hear consistently from Nas is reflected in the level to which they care. Nas just tends to care more about putting out his album and his project. So when you ask him for a song, or ask for a verse, we're going to get to this even when we talk about some of his verses. If you'll notice, some of his best verses, Mike, are people who he fucks with the toughest.
Yeah, and it's not. And even when you listen to, to Verbal Intercourse. It didn't sound, obviously the verbal, well, not obviously, not everybody knows this, but we know this. The Verbal Intercourse verse was from, Deja Vu. So it wasn't like he came in there to blow Raekwon and Ghostface out. He was just in there doing his thing. But when Jay gets on the record, like we saw it with the You Don't Know remix, right? Where, I don't know if you remember, when MOP was on there initially, his verse was half of what was on the album, and then he added more on there. He added a fourth verse on Big Pimpin'.
Right.
And you see what he did on The Watcher too. It was clear. It was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this long ass verse, like, cause Rakim's on here. You know what I mean?
No, here was the thing. So The Watcher 2 and this track are similar. The Watcher 2 is way better than this record, by the way. But it's similar in the sense that it's like, doesn't The Watcher 2 feel like that was something that Rakim and Dre were working on for Rakim's album Oh My God on Aftermath that never came out. And when Dre didn't realize it wasn't coming out, he's like, well, let me give Ross some run and let me hand it off to Hove, who I have. You get what I'm saying? That was good business in what was become, I guess, an unworkable situation between the two. But as great as that song is, didn't feel organic. You can kind of tell that Dre and Rakim recorded it and it got sent to Jay, and he had time and, once again, space literally within the bars to kind of go ape shit. And he did.
Christopher George says EPMD sounds like... Christopher George, I'm sorry, said EPMD sounds like Spicy. I thought that too, actually.
It's not as good as Spicy beat.
But we're talking about beat wise and approach. And you know what? And while we're talking about that, let's segue to this
hey
Hit
Mike,
Boy
real quick
thing.
Hold on, real quick, Mike. Black Thought sounded better than both of them in between, if we're just talking bar for bar.
Well, Black Thought sounds better than everybody his age. Let's just be real. Yeah. It is what it is. We know that. We've covered that before. You know what I want to know, though? Why does Hit Boy keep getting these high-profile production jobs?
That's shady. That's shady. What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
It's been Benny, Nas, and Sean, right? Like
Benny, Nas, and Sean, and he's over this soundtrack too. This is what I said earlier, and I was speaking to one of my guys offline. It's like Hit Boy's, I guess, quote unquote, seminal record was, would you say, Niggas in Paris? Is that the one? Is that the beat?
Definitely.
That was a long time ago. Like,
unequivocally.
So for what reason is he getting all this work in 2020 and 2021 on such a high profile level? Like, what record is it that people are trying to chase? Because, like when the Neptunes broke, right? When they start doing stuff for everybody, Shake It Fast was the record that kind of started that onslaught. For Swiss, Super Thug was the one that introduced them into the game, and that was like 98. But when they did Shake It Fast, it was a whole bunch of hits that just came after that, because that was like 2000.
Shake It Fast?
Yeah, the Mystical record. Because right after...
No, I remember the record. No, I remember the record very, very well.
Yeah, because after that, that's when Pharrell got pushed to the forefront. So
yeah, that might have been their tipping point.
Yeah, so it was that, and then, with Swiss, you had the Rough Riders anthem. Boom. After that, everybody wanted that sound. Timbaland, you had One in a Million. Boom. Everybody wanted that sound. Like, what is this Hit Boy record that got everybody like, yo, you're doing my whole project?
Before that, Mike, prior to this year with a couple of the tracks that he just did for Nas and Benny, I really couldn't tell you, truthfully, because I told you he didn't even do the best track on Detroit, because we both agree that the best track on Detroit was Full Circle, right? He didn't do that beat. That was about the hardest beat on there too, to me, in my opinion. So I really don't have. I don't have no smoke for you, Mike. I really don't have a valid answer for you. I will say that he did do a couple of joints on Benny and Nas's album, beat wise, that I thought, I'm like, oh no, that's high level, spicy. Full Circle was a nice beat. Blue Benz was a nice beat. 27 Summers was fire. On Benny's album, One Way Flight and Sly Green come to mind.
He's getting some great looks, but my thing is, to me, he, as far as his generation, he's not the producer that Metro Boomin, Mike Will, or any of these guys are, in my opinion.
Mike, when you say it like that, I'm gonna have to agree with you. And hold on, didn't Nas do something with Mike Will Made It already?
Did he? Help us out in the chat. Maybe y'all know, but
no, you want to know it? No, he did some work with Luger once. He did some work with Lex Luger. You're right. He didn't work with Mike. Hey, you want to know what? Can Nas and Benny rap to an album full of Metro Boomin tracks? Like, is that?
I like when Conway did the Murder Beats record. Maybe not like a whole Metro But Metro's versatile though. I mean, really.
I was actually about to say, Mike Conway might be a little bit more versatile. We're finding out than Benny, definitely, and possibly Nas, which we can kind of get to, because Conway's showing that he's pretty versatile, even though the talk is, you know what I'm saying, real.
People in the chat are saying the Hit Boy's overrated. You know, whew. I'm inclined to agree, man. Like you're producing a whole Nas record.
I mean, Mike. I told you at the point that he's producing the whole Nas record, it's like I'm inclined to agree too. And Mike, when I said Nas delivers 90% more, like this is what I'm talking about. It's just like the Hit Boy made him sound updated, but it's like it's still Nas you're listening to, and why you like King's Disease more than the beats. Like
imagine if Alchemist did the whole thing. Imagine if Alchemist did King's Disease. I mean, really.
We don't want. I try not to even think like that.
I'm just saying. I mean, imagine if Alchemist did Burden of Proof.
Mike, bananas, Mike. But what I'm saying is for what Nas is trying to do, which is update his formula for the first time. Like he went and like, how about this, Mike? Both Hit Boy and Nas, I feel like tried something different by working with each other, and that it worked. But Mike, it mostly worked because it's Nas. It's the voice. It's the ability.
Well, you know what? I want to kind of segue here with that because it feels like the knock on Nas has always been, it's never been his lyricism or anything like that. It's always been the fact that he's been attracted to mediocre production. I think it was even a meme out there where it was like, show the dude, walking with some bad chick and he was looking at the average chick and it was like Nas, great beat, or Primo, and then it'd be like whack beats or whatever, and Nas was looking the way of the whack beats. But anyway, I do think it's kind of overstated that, because we kind of covered this in one of our previous shows, but I found it interesting that we found this clip of Jermaine Dupri. We posted it on According to Hip Hop, and he named his top 5 MCs, and I guess favorites or whatever, and he said Big, Pac, Jay, and then he went Slick Rick, and then he was like, I'm wrestling between Pusha T and Jadakiss. And so...
And he picked Push.
What's that?
And he picked Push because he said Push's lifestyle, what he talks about mirrors his more. Like when Push be talking, he be feeling the lifestyle. But then understand.
Yeah, and then the host was like, no, Nas, like he was surprised that Jermaine Dupri, who's worked with Nas a lot of times, didn't put Nas in the top 5. And Jermaine Dupri was like, I'm from the South, we don't really, bump like that. And basically it sounded like Nas just doesn't have music people could ride to and bump to. And I think a lot of that is production. I think a lot of that is approach. What do you say to that? Could you see how Nas's music as a whole couldn't be as enjoyable of a listen as some other artists?
You want to know what? This question, like, it used to upset me when I was younger, and I used to get in these debates. It's actually one of the more funner questions now.
Mm-hmm.
And here's why. It's like there's so many places that you can go with what Jermaine said. Like, first of all, let's speak to what he said first and foremost.
Okay.
Mike, he picked probably like the 5 highest rappers maybe that I've ever heard rap. Definitely 5 of the top 10. And so, like, Jermaine is like talking about, or JD is talking about people who echo his lifestyle more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he likes that fly shit. He's been living a certain lifestyle for a very, very, very long time, Mike. And
well, Nas talk that fly shit too.
I mean, first of all, we're going to get into that, Mike. He talks it well. Like, Nas talks it very well. The guys that he just named are probably the guys, in my opinion, that are probably the best for just talking fly shit in general. Definitely 4 of the 5 with Big, Jay, Slick Rick, and Push. I told you, Mike, like, Push is very much like Big and like Jay. He's just actually more consistently sinister and doesn't have the same hit record crossover appeal. And I don't think he's ever really attempted to they have either.
I agree.
In terms of how he talks, and in terms of level of delivery, he's right there with Big and Jay. And so three of those guys literally fall in the same vein. Slick Rick is the flyest rapper who ever lived. We all know that and feel that way still
Hands
to this
down.
day. And then you have Pac, which is probably the guy that those other three guys would want to be the most, including Nas. If you get what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
the guys that he didn't pick the best MCs, he picked the flyest dudes. I mean, and you know how I feel about Push, but Mike, none of those guys are better MCs than Nas. They're better at talking that fly shit. Oh, well, he's good at that too. Are you better than him at what he does? Well, no.
I think that Nas is Achilles' heel when it comes to, being in that, how do I say, that elite, that elite group where everybody says this person's the greatest, this person's the greatest. He's more, he's more socially conscious and awkward than the rest of them. And obviously Pac was conscious, but let's be real. People more so harp on the thug life Pac more than they do the conscious Pac. To be real.
That's not the Tupac. Hold on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the media's fault. I told you, it's like, I love the music that he made with Death Row, but the Pac that I love is the Pac that's strictly for my niggas and me against the world. The music with Death Row is great, but like you can keep that.
I got a few things.
The guy before that was a phenomenon.
No, I agree. I got a few things to say, but I do want to go to the comments to see what people talking about with this. Andre Shashir says that Nas don't make music for the radio and the shit that make women shake their ass. That's why he's still the best lyricist I've ever heard. Lawrence says, fuck out of here. Nas is untouchable. JL Will says, it's crazy how people are the biggest critics of hip-hop and don't know anything about hip-hop. Romaine Phillips says, sounds like he need to go listen again. Let's see. The more they knock Nas makes me more inclined to put Nas in my top 2. Lawrence says, Pusha is not at all. Pusha is not all that. Fuck out of here. Y'all trying to compare Pusha with Nas? Fuck out of here. No, I mean, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. That's not what we're saying. You know what? I was very surprised that Jermaine Dupri.
But he's not Nas to me.
Listen,
but he's great.
Let me say it like this: Nas is lyrically, he's somewhere else, and I think that lyrically, only Rakim and Nas are just there lyrically as far as like the people who have that catalog of music.
Catalog, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What is there as a lyricist though? Like Thought is like Rakim, Nas, Thought, like those three in particular.
Right. If we're just talking about lyrics alone, but see, I think where Nas falls short and where people always kind of nitpick with Nas is the fact that his level of versatility is not there with his peers. He does not have the versatility that Biggie, Jay, and Pac have. He does not. No, I don't think he has the versatility that Rakim has. I've never heard a record.
That's wrong.
I've never heard a record that Rakim didn't sound comfortable on. Ever. I've never heard a record that Biggie didn't sound comfortable on. Shoot, Pac either.
Hold on. One is due to selection. One is due to unfortunate circumstances. But I get what you're saying. And also, look at where you have to go when you say that. You went to Rakim and Biggie. It's like, oh, okay. Like if we're, I mean, Mike.
But that's who he's in the class with.
Like Mike. I mean, but all I'm saying is when you're saying Rakim and Biggie, when we're talking about Nas, with me thinking that he's the GOAT, where you're going to his two biggest competitions. Like those would be the two guys that like I would look at instead of him. Like just truthfully, everything being everything. But I have something I want to submit to you about why I really do think that he's the GOAT, because I think people are looking at this backwards. That category that Nas always gets put in, like being grouped with Big and Jay and Pop, like, you know what I'm saying? And even like Pusha, like guys like that.
Right.
Like Nas actually doesn't really belong to that faction when you listen to his MCing.
I agree.
Nas actually belongs closer to the Most Def, Common, Andre 3000, and Talib side. And so, Mike, here's why he's the GOAT. He's the only guy that really is legitimately in the conversation on both sides, where if you leave him out on either side of the conversation, the other side is going to say something like dude said. That's why he is the greatest. That is the versatility that people are missing. So Mike, Mike, I told you this. Nas is where the baller meets the backpacker. So it's not that. So how about this? Those guys over there, the ballers, oh, they can't rhyme like Nas. But guess what, Mike? The backpackers don't have bangers like Nas. Right.
But I think even the backpackers.
Rakim don't have more bangers than Nas. Thought don't have more bangers than Nas. Most don't
first
have
of
more
all,
bangers.
I wouldn't.
Common,
I wouldn't consider. First of all, hold on. I wouldn't consider Rakim a backpacker. Now, if you're talking about the most, the Commons,
like
all those guys, I don't think they even attempt to make bangers like Nas does. And when Nas attempts to make bangers outside of Made You Look and Shoot, really, he falls short. You telling me you feel the same way about the Nas records that they play in the club as you do The World Is Yours, or It Ain't Hard to Tell?
Whoa, Mike.
I mean,
that's
come on.
I'm saying. No. Of course not, Mike. That's not his strong suit. What I'm trying to tell you is that he is literally great enough and has made enough hit records that he still gets paired off with Big, J, and Pac over there. But lyrically, he gets paired off over here. Nobody else has it like that. Name the person that gets paired off into both factions like that.
Well, Jonathan Keith Richardson here says Kendrick Lamar is better than Nas, and Kendrick does get put in both factions. I would like to ask Joshua.
Not for hit records, Mike. Like Kendrick don't have more bangers than Nas. Where are they?
Joshua, why do you think that Kendrick Lamar is better than Nas? I'm not saying you're wrong. I think that's an interesting take. I would love to hear that.
Hold on. Mike may not want to tell you that you're wrong. I'm going to tell you that you're wrong. There you go.
You know what? Once again, I think Kendrick's versatility is a little bit more vast than Nas.
Mike, Kendrick's versatility and his catalog are the main reason he's a top 10 MC, but lyrically, it's not. No. And he still doesn't have Nas' catalog. He still doesn't have a better album than Illmatic. Like, I mean, I can start running it down. He doesn't have the guest appearances, Mike. He doesn't have that all-time. What's his lyrical seminal moment? Control. Nas got like 30, 40 verses better than Control. Legitimately. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Like, you don't want to do the Kendrick thing. Like
Joshua says that Kendrick's body of work is much better than Nas's. He said much better body of work. Okay, all right. Let's explore this. Let's explore this. Let's explore this. Does Nas have 4 albums better than Section 80? Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, and Damn.
I mean, Mike, to be honest with you, I'm going to take Illmatic, It Was Written, and the Lost Tapes over everything that he's ever made except for Good Kid, Mad City. We can throw Good Kid, Mad City somewhere in the conversation of those.
I don't think the Lost Tapes is better than all 4 of those. Come on.
Mike, don't nobody be listening to Pimp a Butterfly like they be saying they do.
I'm telling you, man, there's no way in the world.
You don't be listening to
There's no way nobody listening to Lost Tapes like that. There's no way in the world that Lost Tapes is better than Pimp a Butterfly, man. There's no way.
No.
There's no way.
It's not inherently better, but you're asking me how I feel about it. Yeah, I'm going to listen to the Lost Tape like 5-6 times before I listen to Damn, Mike, and so are you. And to Pimp a Butterfly. Like, this is what I'm saying. Here's what's happened in 4 years since I wrote that Kendrick article, Mike. We've had time to sit and watch his music age a little bit. Who riding around still bumping Kendrick shit? Mike, niggas is still playing Illmatic and It Was Written. Who running around bumping Kendrick shit?
You saying Kendrick's music ain't got no legs? We might need to push him back up in the list.
Mike, I'm not saying push him back. I'm holding the mic. I told you. That's why I'm waiting for the next album, because when I'm looking at his catalog, Good Kid, Mad City is holding up wonderfully. The rest of it, like, Mike, niggas ain't riding around listening to Damn or Pimp a Butterfly like that. And
Joshua said he listens to Pimp a Butterfly regularly. It's a great album. It's one of the best albums in the past 10 years, to be perfectly honest.
No, Mike, I'm not. Mike, I gave it the phenomenal rating. I gave it a phenomenal rating.
I think it's his best album, personally, and I think that Kendrick has 3...
Because it's not holding up the replay value factor that makes a classic truly an all-time classic. It's like, do I want to listen to this shit 5, 10, 15, 20 years later from beginning to end? Joshua, you one of the few dudes on here listening to Pimp a Butterfly 4 or 5 years later from beginning to end. Niggas stopped doing that shit 3, 4 years ago.
I love To Pimp a Butterfly. These walls, hood politics.
Mike,
come on, man.
Hold on, Mike. Can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
I'm going to put to the test about it. I bet you know every verse to Daytona, but you don't know every verse to Pimp a Butterfly.
I mean, To Pimp a Butterfly is much longer than Daytona. Come on, man.
3 more years too, Mike. Why don't you know every verse to Pimp a Butterfly?
I will tell you this.
It like that. That's no. Niggas be capped with it, Mike. Mike, I can spit every verse from the Purple tape. That shit came out in '95. Like I can spit every verse to it. It's just as long as a Pimp a Butterfly. I can spit every verse to it right now with no beat to this day. When it's a classic, you know that shit in and out. Niggas don't know To Pimp a Butterfly in and out. That's the lie.
It's a very lengthy effort. And if you want to talk that, don't nobody know any of Eminem's albums word for word from beginning to end either. But that's a whole nother subject.
I knew a good bit of the Marshall Mathers LP.
JL Wells says that he knows it word for word, and he says To Pimp a Butterfly is gonna go down as one of the greatest albums of all time. I agree. I mean, I think that To Pimp a Butterfly is definitely Kendrick's best piece of work. I don't know if every
work. It's not his best piece of work.
I think it is.
Good Kid, Mad City is his best piece of work because the best piece of work is the piece that you can always put back on and it never feels old. That's not To Pimp a Butterfly. Good Kid, Mad City.
I'll tell you this. I'm putting in Good Kid, Mad City. I'm putting in To Pimp a Butterfly over It Was Written. If I had a choice, like which album I'm listening to,
Mike,
I'm putting To Pimp a Butterfly in.
Hold on. On what level, Mike? Lyrically, what album is better?
Lyrically, It Was Written is. I mean, I think Nas is.
So you're saying you're picking To Pimp a Butterfly about what, production, content?
I mean, I'm just talking about the overall scope. But see, this is the whole Nas argument. We kind of take Nas out in a vacuum and we just look at him as a lyricist. But when it comes to being a song maker, when it comes to him being versatile, he's not the strongest like that. Like we said before, he was stronger than his peers in one aspect. And that's lyricism. He wasn't that great of a performer. Now let's just be real. He's not that great of a performer when it comes, huh?
No, I'll let you have it. Go ahead.
And I mean, and yeah, when it comes to just, I don't even want to say picking versatile production, but it's not even about the production he picks. He just doesn't sound great over everything. And when you think about people like Pac, Jay even, Rakim, Big, they sound pretty good off of anything that they get on. And they take chances in that way. And it's like, I think we were talking about this offline.
Chances, Mike.
Nas,
no, Mike, he's taking chances, Mike. He's failed at a lot of the chances. I think that's where the critique comes from.
Yeah.
He's taking the chance.
Well, see, sometimes, like, when you get a Nas feature or you hear Nas on the record, I think we were talking about this earlier because we were talking about Jermaine Dupri not having him in the 5, and I started thinking about the records that him and Jermaine did together. I was listening to 1472, Jermaine's solo album, and Nas was on the intro of that, and he had, and then he had that record, I Gotta Have It, with Monica and Nas or whatever, and it was like, when you hear Nas on those records, he doesn't sound like the best rapper ever. And it's like that intensity that we get from Nas on Verbal Intercourse, it's not a consistent across the board thing like it is with Rakim, right? Like whenever I hear Rakim, he sounds like the best rapper ever.
Way more breathe. Hold on. You have so much more to pull from with Nas than you do specifically when it comes to Rakim and Big. So that's not totally fair to Nas when you bringing up Rakim, who like comes like a comet with it, and Big, who Big's not here. You know what I mean? And Big's career was short. What I will tell you is that he's made a lot of missteps, probably more missteps than the other guys, but he's also put out and taken more chances than most of those guys, and he's gone for self more than those guys. I'm telling you, Mike, we're about to get to Jay in a minute.
We're going to get to Jay in a minute, but before we do, let me tell you what I think.
No, Mike, no. Big had a team.
Big had a team.
Those records, so when you're listening to Big on You Can't Stop the Rain, Can't You See, Only You, Dolly My Baby. What's the 411 remix? No, that's strategically planned, and he got help. Nas was really out there by himself. And Mike, he has gems, and he seems to care more when he knows when there's a relationship, like with Ray or with Main Source and Akinelli and Large Pro. Like, he appears to care more and put more into it when he knows the relationship is there. And I'm gonna give you that.
I think that's more of a Lane thing, though. Like, because we've seen Big sound just as good on You're Nobody to Somebody Kills You as he does on More Money, More Problems, or as he does on Hypnotize, or as he does on Fucking You Tonight, or as he does on What's Beef. You know what I mean?
You're not being fair. No, Mike, this is what I keep telling you. You talking about 97 Big. There's never been an MC that versatile or that nice, Mike.
That was who he was.
Hold on, Mike. That's Rakim or Nas Prime included. Nobody's ever been that versatile on the mic. Mike, Big's not that versatile on the mic in 94 on Ready to Die as he is in 97 on Life After Death. It's a jump in versatility.
Well, you know where the jump started, I think? I think One More Chance began the jump, because that record...
I thought it started it, but you know when I heard it, Mike, was the Get Money remix. Frank White, the Desperado, used to drive the all black Dorado, the all black, all that in a bottle of Dom P. Niggas Can't Harm Me is Brooklyn. That one, when I heard that verse, I was like, who the fuck is that?
No, he was like I'm the rapper with clout. Everybody.
Yeah. Oh, it got so silky. I was like, what is that? Like, who? It's like, that's Big. Is that the dude from Machine Gun Funk? Like. A year later, Mike. It was a year later, Mike.
I mean, I'm the rapper with cloud. Everybody yap about. Check it out. Guns are bustin'. Problems with my wife. Don't discuss them. Coops the lid. Jets to lust them. Fingerprints
Mike, nobody
dust
had
them.
rapped bar-wise like that.
Yeah, I mean,
like Mike, when he was doing that, nobody had rapped like that before. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Nah, I think One More Chance was the One More Chance remix. It was like, yo, man, this guy's going in, and it's so smooth and it was so comfortable. Like, and then the total
it's
Can't You See verse, man. It was like, yo, man, like, I don't know, it's a difference, man. And you hear Nas on like Hot Boy or something.
But you're being unfair. This is what I'm saying. Every time we talk about Nas, everybody immediately goes to the greatest shit they've ever heard before. It's like, oh, let's talk about 95 to 97 Big. You ain't doing that shit with Jay shit.
Well, let's just talk about Jay-Z then, if that's what it is. Well, let's discuss the elephant in the room.
Hold on. We're gonna wrap up this Nas conversation. I want you to answer my question though.
Okay.
When we're talking about lyrics, do Big J and Pac get put over in most in thought and Talib in Common in 3000's category the way Nas does?
You know what? I'm gonna answer your question, but that's what I was actually gonna get back to. I felt like that was Nas's biggest thing is the fact that that's what he's really strong at. But he gets put in these conversations with people who do things better than him on that level. You know what I mean? And he's not in the conscious conversation because at that point that was a whole separate lane. Why doesn't he make records with Black Thought and Mos Def and them like that? You think Mos Def would out-rap Nas on a record when they were all in their primes?
Hold on. No, I mean, first of all, Mike, in their prime, nobody's out-rapping Nas. That includes Mos Def and Black Thought.
Mos Def's prime was very, very high level, I will say.
Mike, you have even said that yourself, 96 Nas is the best MC you've ever heard lyrically.
I've said that,
and it's the truth.
Yes,
because it's the truth, Mike. So it's like the answer to that question is no. What I would submit to you, he is very much like Rakim in the sense that he is kind of a soloist. It's like outside of that Firm moment, Mike, like the time with the Firm, he's really been like a soloist, and he is a soloist in that manner, not as quick to collab, more of an introvert. And here's what I mean. Like, Pac, Jay, and Big have better deliveries than Nas. Big, you can argue, has a better voice than Nas. That depends on what you want to hear. But, Mike, outside of that, they're not better than him.
I think Jay's better than
Mike,
Nas.
You can point to things that they do better, Mike, but when you start looking at the totality of the MC, that's why I said, Mike, you start getting into the details. It's like, Oh, can they spit rhyme for rhyme with him? No. Can they tell a story better than him? No. Do they have a better album than him? No. It's like you start running it down. It's like, yeah, go ahead and bring up that they're better at making hit records if you want to.
We got a lot of comments coming in here, man, and we're gonna get to them.
If what you have over Nas is that you make hit records better than Nas, I'm still gonna show you the GOAT because I'm gonna show you about 4 or 5, 6 things that he does better than you, unless you're 88 Rakim or 97 Big.
I think there's only one thing he does better than everybody equivocally, and that's just lyricism. But when it comes to those other things, I don't know. It's all debatable at that point.
No, Mike, he actually, Mike, name an MC that has a better collection of high-level storytelling tracks in their resume.
You think he's the best storytelling MC?
I think that he has the best catalog of it. He's got the best.
Better than Scarface?
I was about to say, Mike, there's a group of guys, Scarface, Ghostface, Biggie, Slick Rick, and Nas. I would put all of them at that highest level.
I got Nas at number 3 when it comes to storytelling.
Hold on, Mike, and here's why. Hold on. So we're about to have one of those separation moments. Scarface and Ghostface do not know how to pull off a rewind or I gave you power, and don't tell me that they do.
But he can't.
He can do the street shit, Mike. He got the setup. He's got Blaze of 50.
Blaze of 50 came to mind.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got it on every level. He's got the creative. He's got the street. He's got it on every level.
I'm sorry. I don't think Nas can tell a story with the emotion that a Ghostface can. I'm sorry. I just don't believe it.
Mike, he can't. Oh, you want to know what one of my favorite Ghostface stories is? Is Shaky Dog off Fish Scale. It's like, go play Shaky Dog next to Rewind, and you tell me who's the better storyteller, Mike. That's what I'm saying. Go start
Child's Play.
Up, Mike. Oh, like
All That I Got Is You?
Hold on, Mike.
Come on, man.
Mike.
That's a different kind of story, man.
No, Mike.
That's a story that hits head.
No. But what I'm saying is that certain people have certain levels. Ghost and Scarface can make you feel something that maybe Nas cannot make you feel.
Mm-hmm.
But the level of difference when he gets creative and they get creative, Mike, it's a gap. They can't pull off rewind. They can't conceptualize it and go. No, that's why he's the GOAT, Mike. He starts doing things when you start comparing it. It's like, can that other guy do that? It's like, not a chance.
So you're giving him the conceptual points when it comes to rewind. Because honestly, I'm going to be honest, man.
Mike, I Gave You Power. He wrote a whole song about being a gun. An entire song, they hook about being a gun.
Yeah.
He compared the gun being cocked back to a circumcision, Mike, metaphorically. Hell no, Scarface and Ghostface ain't fucking with that.
Oh, my God, man.
No, they're not fucking with that.
That's sorry.
What I'm talking about, Mike, when you want to start getting into the details and comparing.
Now, I will say that he's very detailed in his storytelling, but as far as, I think where he misses is the fact that Ghost, Scarface, Slick Rick, and even Big, you feel what they're saying a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? And that's a different skill.
In the case of Scarface and Ghostface, I agree with you. In terms of Big and Slick Rick, no. There's not something, Mike. I don't feel anything when I hear niggas bleed or somebody gotta die. No, I do not.
All right, what about Ghostface's Impossible verse? Ghostface's Impossible verse. Like, Nas got something for that?
Mike, I said Ghostface and Scarface, you're right. Big and Slick Rick, you're wrong. What puts Ghostface and Scarface in that conversation is because what they lack technically, they make up for emotionally. I'm going to give you that. Yeah.
Everybody in the chat saying, let Mike talk.
No, I'm not letting Mike talk today. Fuck all that. How about that?
Nas fans get crazy.
You talking about one verse on Impossible, Mike. I'm talking about a 3-verse song with a hook on I Gave You Power.
Okay. All right, well.
Bring up Impossible if you want to. I'm bringing up Never Seen a Man Die. You want to talk about Never Seen a Man Die, Mike? No, that's the story that Nas.
Nah, man. I don't think anybody could do that. But you know what? Like I said, I got Nas really high when it comes to storytelling. I think my top 5 storytelling MCs, I got Scarface number 1. I got Ghostface number 2. I got Nas at 3. I think I got Slick Rick at 4. And Big at 5. That might flip, actually. You know what I mean? That kind of goes back and forth.
Mine is
Big.
similar to
Yeah.
yours. I
So,
got face. I got both of the faces right under Nas. I got Nas, Scarface, Ghostface, Biggie, Slick Rick.
yeah, definitely. But, okay. Well, we were going to talk about Jay, too.
I say you want to get to this team of writers.
Well, this is the thing, man, because earlier in the week, you know, because you were telling me about the Oskino podcast, which is a very dope podcast, by the way. You know, go check it out. Oskino from State Property. Shout out to him. And him and Beanie Siegel were talking. This was his show from, might have been a week ago or so.
I think it was the last week's show. He had Freeway on this week. This was
yeah,
the second
he had
show.
Freeway on this week.
He just started his Deeper Than Rap podcast.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah. Anyway, he was telling the stories about how State Property used to have to go up to Jay-Z every single day and spit they bars. Like, he was asking for like 16 from him like every day. And so what Oskino was saying was Jay would sit there, because you know he has that incredible memory and he doesn't write anything down, and he would basically absorb their verses and allegedly go use them in other songs. And you know, because he said Jay was like, yo, say that again. And then he said, next thing he know, he listened to lyrical exercise. And it's like, you got me.
He specifically said, what's that boxing analogy that you was using? Spit that one to me again.
Yeah. And Siegel was like, you know, he made it a hot line, I made it a hot song, and laughed about it. But that made us think, like, okay, well, does that constitute in the fact that, is that ghostwriting to you, in your opinion? Like, when you're actually kind of absorbing rhymes from other people in your camp that basically you pay, it kind of sounds like a writing team. You know what I'm saying?
He's a hustler, homie.
You know, because it immediately made me think about Young Chris.
Know what do the people think? What are the comments saying right now?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, does that?
I'm gonna get into shit. I'm gonna get into all my shit about it. Like, what are the people in the comments saying? I'm curious.
Yeah. What does anybody out there think that if you have a team around you and they're spitting bars and you're kind of taking some pieces of their bars, is that ghostwriting? Is that just throwing ideas, or is that cool? All right, when is it biting and when is it ghostwriting? And when is it just inspiration?
Is that where we're going? Inspiration, Mike? That's what you want to call it. First of all, just hold on. You want to know? I want to give a shout out to because Oskino, like him and Free lost their sons, and he spent a lot of time on that podcast talking about mental health and mental health awareness and trying to bring something positive to it. So just shout out to another black man, like trying to do better in the community and shouting out mental health and awareness. And now back to this rap shit. So
they put out a good one out there. Here's the question. Is that questionable pen?
That's what I'm saying, Mike. Okay. Oh, God. My first real question is that has something like this ever been said about anybody that he's in the same stratosphere with? Has this ever been said about Rakim, Nas, KRS, Big, Pac, G-Rap, Thought, Kendrick? Has any of that ever been said about any of them?
Well, Sticks from Dead Prez, I think that Dream Hampton alleged one time that he ghost wrote the nigga album for Nas, but you know.
First of all, if he did that, he should forever bury that and keep that to himself. It's one of those inconsistent Nas projects that, make whether he is the GOAT or not a question. I don't believe that's true anyway, because there's some of that inconsistent Nas bullshit on that album that, quite frankly, you didn't hear in the one released and the other unreleased Dead Prez album. What I'm saying is, Mike, that was Jay in his prime, and I've heard multiple people say that, like, he took Young Chris's flow.
Mm-hmm.
He changed his flow, and that's really Young Chris's flow.
Yeah.
Now Oskino is saying that pretty much like he got the lyrical exercise from some shit that Oskino spit. Yeah. Isn't that the same thing as having reference points and reference tracks like Drake did?
No, well, Drake has straight up reference tracks. This is what I think, and I'm not
There's
saying
no
that.
better reference than somebody sign spitting it to you, and you're a genius who can memorize it, Mike. Don't let's not like you know what I mean. Like don't give him. I
But
don't
you
want to see
said it
niggas giving
yourself.
him a pass.
Genius.
I don't want to see. No, he's a genius at that, Mike.
Yeah.
Like not being able to write it down because Mike, just watching the two podcasts so far, Oskino and Free and Beans have all like kind of nodded their head like you say your shit one time, you remember.
And like Oskino said,
genius.
he still
That's
said, he said, even though JB stealing stuff, he's still my second favorite rapper. Oskino said that. Now, I still will say, let's put it this way. I think Jay-Z's the best to ever do it, right? I mean, let me say that.
You better not say that after this.
No.
Writers in his prime.
Listen, I'm gonna say
writers
this.
in his prime.
Hold on. Let me finish. I think that what Jay was doing, he would take some of the things that they were doing and improve it and make it his own. I mean, that's what he did, and
he stole that shit. He stole that shit because niggas be stealing out here.
This is what I will say.
No different. No. It's like when Barry Bonds takes steroids. It's like, yeah, you had a couple of MVP awards, but they don't change the fact you took the fucking steroids.
Barry Bonds did not take steroids, so.
Huh?
Barry Bonds did not take steroids.
Mike, I love Barry Bonds. He's the greatest baseball player that ever lived, in my humble estimation. No. Mike, I saw him play live. With the Pirates and with the Giants. Saw him live. He's the best baseball player ever. It's not a question. He still did that shit. Fuck all that.
Where's the positive test?
Man.
They got positive blood on A-Rod. They got positive blood on Clemens. They got positive blood on Palmaro. They got positive blood on all these guys.
Mike,
Where's his positive blood?
Hey, Mike, I used to have a friend back in the day when I was on West Boulevard that used to tell me, like, I don't got to see him hit the pipe to know that's a fiend.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I do. You can't just say people did something and then they haven't been proven. When they rolled out the Mitchell report, they uncovered 100 names. You don't think they were trying to get Barry Bonds?
No, Mike, he's still the greatest player of all time because everybody else was doing the shit too, but so was he.
But no, but there's no proof of that. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're talking about.
We got proof that Jay stole. How about that?
I want to.
No, he out here stealing.
I'm just saying.
No.
Barry Bonds' trial. No, let's finish this Barry Bonds thing. I don't like that narrative. Barry Bonds' trial lasted 15 years. You think it would take them 15 years if this nigga did something?
Oh, no. Barry Bonds, Teflon Don. Very much like Hovind, that he's hard to touch. But he did that shit.
He ain't that hard to touch.
He may not have even known what he was doing when he did it because it was still that early in the game. Like, they were probably trying some new shit on Barry because Barry had money like that, but he did that shit.
They all got money. They pro athletes, man. I don't want to hear that.
They all did, Mike. It's like, how about this, Mike? You got to see that it's like, well, shit, you give Barry Bonds steroids like you give the rest of these guys steroids, and guess what? They're back to being behind Barry Bonds because that's what happened, Mike. He was the best player in baseball from, like, pretty much from the time he walked on the field to the 1994-95. And then the steroids came into play, and then he started taking them. He became the best player in baseball again. But he did that shit like the rest of them.
He did not take steroids. I don't understand how they can't find any positive blood from him. But anyway.
I mean, hey, it's like Jadakiss said, if you don't get caught, it's not a crime. Like, I guess.
I mean, that's what they actually, convict people on. Actual proof.
Back to this criminal shit Jay's doing when you're paying artists $750 a day. While you're making
that was per diem. And see, you know what I don't like about that story? What I don't like about that story.
You come with a 10-pack of rhymes, Mike.
Yeah.
Stop all that.
Yeah.
You ever heard anybody talk about Nas or Rakim that way, or Big that way, or Ice Cube, or Scarface, Mike? I don't want to hear no more GOAT talk.
But see, this is the thing, though, about those type of situations, though.
I'm gonna bring it up every time.
Listen, listen. This is what I think about those situations. Jay made Reasonable Doubt. None of those guys were around. Jay made The Blueprint while those guys were around. After that, when everybody was gone, he gave us American Gangster. So this is not like one of those Lil Wayne things, right? Where when Lil Wayne's, questionable pen people are gone, you hear a whole new Wayne. It's not like that. Jay's been great in 96. And you've said it yourself, and some of his stuff in 97, some of his strongest records ever. He broke.
Mike, 96, Mike, 96, 97 Hove is the best Hove. Best Hove before all of these guys. The MC. Like, the best MC Hove is 96, 97 Hove. And so I'll never take that away from him.
American Gangster's great, too.
Black Album is great. American Gangster is really good.
Listen, I will tell you this, and don't mean to interrupt you. The Black Album, those guys aren't involved. Now, if he was absorbing anybody's rhymes, let's just say, for argument's sake, he was absorbing rhymes, I think that was for Blueprint too. Any of the other albums, I don't see any of those guys' influences like that. Not even on the Blueprint like that.
You can't have whispers like this around you when people are talking about you like you're the greatest MC of all time. We're not talking about him as if he's a top 10 MC. A lot of people think that he's the greatest ever, so there can't be anything like this associated with it in this game.
So you're gonna allow allegations with no real proof?
Mike, it's not allegations. Oskino and Beans are verifying it through each other. One time is a rumor, the second time is confirmation. They confirmed each other. What more proof do you need?
Well, what's being confirmed exactly?
It's being confirmed that he literally was taking these guys and making them sit down and spit their rhymes. Like Mike Bean said, he's like, you'll hear your shit out later. Like, he'll spit your shit out later. What more proof do you need? Mike, that's Beanie Siegel talking, Mike.
I need to, well, listen, I think...
And you see, Mike Beans felt some type of way about it and really was kind of like hesitant on speaking on it, and Oskino just kept going for it. And Oskino brought up something very relevant, too. Like, hey, if he's so great, why did he call all them dudes to go at Nas? Nas didn't have to do that. It's because Jay can't fuck with Nas straight up and down.
Oh, my God. You know what? I think we've heard on...
When he do it, Mike...
I think we
do it. It's like, what did Oskino say? He was shook. Nas was on your ass. You were shook. He was scared a little bit. That's coming from somebody inside the camp. Don't talk to me about a rumor when one of the niggas that used to be inside the camp is saying you was shook up because Nas was on your ass.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna have to say,
because Nas was like, I got this nigga.
You know what? I want to see specifically what lines, what songs are we talking? Because honestly, when you say you hear your stuff later, that can mean anything. Are we talking about a record like You Don't Know? Or are we talking about a record like the one with Sean Paul?
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Hey, Lyrical Exercise was enough for me, Mike. That's one of my favorite Jay records. That's why I was like, oh, I'm fucking out.
I think with Lyrical Exercise, what he probably took.
On the Blueprint, Mike. Is Lyrical Exercise one of the best songs on the Blueprint?
No, it's not. It's
You're
not.
Tripping.
It's not.
You're tripping.
It's not. I'll tell you You Don't Know's better. You Don't Know's better than Lyrical Exercise. You Don't Know's better
than everything ever made, almost.
Heart of the City is better. Song Cry is better. I mean, come on.
I'm giving you Heart of the City and You Don't Know. Mike, I'll give you Heart of the City. You Don't Know.
Never Change is better.
Never Change is better.
Yeah.
Just those three.
I wasn't a huge fan of Lyrical Exercise like that, to be perfectly honest.
That's one of the last times he really flexed. Like
Mama Loves Me is better.
No, it's not.
Come on.
No, it's not. 96, 97 Hove that I'm talking about, he showed back up on Lyrical Exercise. That's why I like Lyrical Exercise. That's 97 Hove. Ain't that the Benny song, 97 Hove?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lyrical Exercise, 97.
And he dressed me, maybe tougher. Love you for that, my nigga, no matter what, bruh. Streets raised me. Whether right or wrong. Woo!
No, it's not. I'm going to tell you why I don't love that record. It's just You Must Love Me off Volume 1 redone.
It's way better than You Must Love Me.
No, it's not.
You're a big Volume 1 fan.
Mike, I was about to tell you the inverse, Mike. It ain't fucking with You Must Love Me.
No, man, no. It's better than You Must Love Me. You're a big Volume 1 fan. And that's crazy, the fact that...
went in on Volume 1.
You're clearly not a big J fan like that, but you're a big Volume 1 fan. Now, I will give you this. Streets of Why...
I'm not a big J fan?
I mean, I don't think you're a big J fan.
I've never had him ranked lower than 6th or 7th on my all-time greatest.
Oh, that's ridiculous. 6 or 7? You can name 5 guys better than Jay.
Oh, shit. After that shit I heard from Oskino, that's not hard anymore.
But
if we're But if we're talking objectively, I've never placed him lower than 4 objectively. Personally, I usually have him between 4 and 7. Objectively, never had him lower than 4. But it's fair fucking game because none of the other great MCs that are in this conversation have this shit associated with them.
But you know what's crazy though? You're saying that, but the man. No. Listen to me. No. What's crazy is
it's like, but it's Jay.
No. What's crazy?
Yo,
listen to me. What's crazy is the guy who actually said this still says Jay is number 2 to him after Big. But see, this is what I want to know, and I would love to talk to Oskino, and we can kind of delve into this a little bit more because it's like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but I mean, I think we need a little bit more detailed information, man, because for how long was this happening? For what songs are we talking about? We're talking about a person with a very illustrious career from 96 to beyond. You know what I'm saying? And he has, I think it's fair to say that Jay has more quality albums than anybody in hip hop. And he has songs over spans of time and probably has more verses than
held up
just about, huh?
What I keep trying to tell you. Those songs and those albums you keep talking about, Mike, they haven't held up as well.
What Jay-Z? All right, for the listeners who are just in, who are
Go
just
listen to Volume 2 right now and tell me that shit is classic. Like there's not a
lot of since we're gonna talk that and we're talking 1998, that shit's way better than I Am. Way more classic than that.
Hold on. You want to know what? Here's what I mean about how it hasn't aged well.
Hate Me Now aged well?
No. Let me speak to you as a Nas fan since you brought up 98 and you want to bring up these 2 albums. When I Am came out and then Jay released Volume 2 later that year, I was hurt. Because I heard, in my opinion, an album from Jay that was significantly better than the album that Nas had delivered. Go listen to those albums now, Mike. It's not that much of a gap because, and here's what I keep stressing about Nas. When the greatest he is as MC, the words hold up over time. Saying all that fly shit for the moment don't hold up over time. I Am has held up better than Volume 2. They sound more comparable now than they ever did because...
No.
And here's what I'm about to tell you. Hold on. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. No. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. Name one song on Volume 2 that's held up like Nas is like.
A Week Ago.
It's not better, though, is it? The beat's not better. The rhyme's not better.
Are the beats or the rhymes I think Hard Knock Life is better than that record.
Hold on, Mike. A week ago, the beats and the rhymes until a week ago is not better than Nas is Like. Those are the best records from those projects.
I can't tell you the last time I threw on Nas is Like, to be perfectly honest.
I can't tell you the last time I threw on a week ago, Mike. But
about a week ago for me.
I'm going to let the people decide, Mike. Nobody is going to ride with you and say that a week ago is better than Nas is Like.
What we will do, what we can do, we could put volume 2 up against I Am on a poll.
No, I mean,
we'll do it like that.
Should probably win, but what I'm telling you, Mike, is the disparity that I heard in 1998. I don't hear it in 2021. Jay shit hasn't aged as well. A lot of Nas shit is gonna stay with you because it's the rhymes that stay.
I think that if we're talking about Jay and Nas, I think 99 and 98 were very interesting years for mainstream rappers of their New York rappers in particular, East Coast rappers. Everybody was kind of trying to find that new sound or whatnot. So neither one of their catalogs from those years, I think, aged as well as some of their other things. But if we want to be perfectly honest, the stuff that Jay made in 98 and 99, Volume 2 and Volume 3 aged much better than I Am and Nostradamus. Come on, man.
No, it aged better than Nostradamus.
The Blueprint aged better than Stillmatic too.
No.
Come on now. Come on now.
Mike, I keep telling you.
Come on now.
Those first, hold on, Mike. You're the one that told me that Braveheart Parties wasn't on the re-release of Stillmatic, right?
No, it's not.
Oh, then shit. That makes it just as comparable.
It's not. Because it still got that. It still got that.
Mike,
what kind of weed y'all smoking?
Hey, Mike, you want to know what? Smoking's the dope track. What are you talking about? Smoking's dope. I've been told.
I hate that record, man. I hate that
No,
record.
just because you hate it doesn't make it whack, Mike. I told you, Mike, we can if they took Braveheart Party Up, Mike, we can line the blueprint up with Stillmatic and go song for song, Mike. I'm telling you where you're losing at. You're losing the first two songs because the intro to Stillmatic is better than the Rulers back and Ether's better than Takeover. You're already 2 down, and we about to get the Izzo.
Ether's not better than Takeover. I'm sorry.
It is, Mike.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It is.
That I'm not going to concede to. Ether's not
Mike,
better than Takeover.
How about this then? Why did all them dudes run up the hot 107.9 for Jay then?
I mean, no.
Right.
Because sure. Ether, but no, we got to look at everything in chronological order. Takeover was first, and then Ether came. Then you needed a response.
Hold on, and instead, and he was shook and sent his homies to try to do the work because he was shook, and one of the homies just said so.
I'm just gonna be honest. I didn't really like the beat for Ether, man. And again,
no, I don't love the beat,
I love the Doors sample on that Takeover beat. That Takeover beat was hard.
About the beat in a battle about rhymes.
Nah, I mean clearly Nas won the battle, but if I want to listen to either song, I'm listening to Takeover over Ether. Period. I just am. Now, what lost it?
What I'm telling you is, if you take Braveheart off Stillmatic, it's not the gap that it is, but it's not the gap that you thinking it is between Stillmatic and the Blueprint, Mike. It's not.
Now I'll give
outside of You Don't Know and Heart of the City, which one of those records on the Blueprint do you like listen to regularly still? Because I still regularly listen to some shit off Stillmatic.
Well, the records I listen to off the Blueprint regularly are Heart of the City and
You Don't Know.
And Never Change. Never Changes.
Yeah, like the rest of us, Mike. Like the rest of us. Like, yeah.
Great records, man.
No,
Song Cry.
That's some of his best stuff. No, that's some of his best stuff.
Yeah. Conversational Jay is the best. And when Jay is in conversational mode, like Imaginary Player, like You Don't Know, he is damn near untouchable at that point. Yeah. I mean, that's his strongest suit. Where Nas is strong is storytelling and just coming up with concepts, conceptually being lyrical. Jay's conversational mode is a whole nother lane. Like, that's his strongest point. And I love when he does that. When he does that, he makes his best music. He did that on American Gangster.
I agree with you, but I don't agree with you. So here...
The muscle that he has that Nas doesn't have is he can actually go out there and make hit records at will. He can make an Empire State of Mind. Nas can't do that.
Hold on. This is what I mean. It's a marathon, not a sprint. He used to be able to make records like that at will. It's been a long time since he's been able to do that.
That's fair.
Nas is continuing. Yeah, but
it's been a long time for Nas too. When was the last Nas hit record?
His career isn't built on that like Jay is. This is what I keep trying to tell you.
I got
you. When people look at Jay, they know Jay because Jay is a star. I told you, Mike, Nas is the only one in that group that is known strictly about his talent as an MC. The rest of those guys have other things attached to it. Oh, you want to be a hustler like Jay. You want to be a businessman like Jay. Nah, with Pac, with the Thug Life. Big with the Coogee and the Versa. You get what I'm saying? There were other things that came with it. Nas is in that category strictly about his skills as an MC. He's the only guy like that in that stratosphere. The rest of those guys are over there. That's what I'm trying to say.
All right, let me ask people in the room, and I'm going to ask you.
He's in a category with guys he shouldn't be in a category in because he's nice like that as an MC.
Let me ask you. Hold on. I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask people in the room, how many classic albums does Nas have, and how many classic albums does Jay-Z have? And we can, write that down real quick.
Classic?
Mm-hmm.
I think they both have 3 and a push.
Okay, well, that's interesting. How many? What classic albums are you saying that Nas has?
I mean, Mike, I'm gonna go with Illmatic. It was written in the Lost Tapes, but I told you the Lost Tapes to me is the real version of I Am that was supposed to come out.
Oh no, we're not gonna play those games. We gotta go strictly.
It got released as a major release, Mike. Did the Lost Tapes get released as a major release?
Yeah, it did. What's the possible you got?
I mean, the possible for me would either be Godson or King's Disease at this point.
You think King's Disease and Godson are classics?
I said possible. As in, like,
I
I
don't even
don't
think
think
they're
it's
in that
going to go
conversation.
down like a classic. I think it's going to go down like a really great record.
Christopher D. George says Jay got 5 classics, Nas got 2. I'm leaning towards 2.
Hold on. Back up. What do you think of Godson? You think Godson is great, don't you? Actually, Mike, I'm sorry. You want to know what, Mike? No, I'm going 4 in a push on Nas. I just left Stillmatic totally out of there. That's how deep his catalog is. I would say that, yeah, it was written Illmatic, Lost Tapes, Stillmatic, Godson or King's Disease would be the push. I'd say with Jay, I mean, Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, Black Album, and I would say his push would be, for me, Mike, I love Volume 1. Like, if you take Sunshine and I Know What Girls Like off Volume 1, I think that's better than everything that he did up into the Blueprint, literally everything. And I'm like you, I'm a big American Gangster fan. I think it's a great album. I feel like there was a couple tracks on there where I was like the Hello Brooklyn with Lil Wayne I didn't really get it. It's like, you got Lil Wayne on Hello Brooklyn, like, but, you know.
Yeah. Listen, this is the thing. And I was going to say similar things about American Gangster. Joshua says Nas don't got more than 2 classics. This is the thing, right?
Okay, but you just said that you know every word.
No. This is what I was going to say. Hold on, let me finish what I was going to say. American Gangster I like a lot, but I don't think it's a classic. So that, I don't know. I guess I'm judging classics very different.
No, when I'm saying
push, I mean that's like a possible great. If it is, you know. But I'm saying Jay, I'm gonna give him Reasonable Doubt. Volume 2, I will give you the fact that it didn't hold up.
So it's not a classic.
No. I that's where I'm going. It's not a classic. So we're judging difficultly, right? I mean, not difficultly. That's a terrible term. We're judging very harshly, very tough. We're being very nitpicky with these legends, right? So, no. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. So I'm going Reasonable Doubt. I'm going the Blueprint. I'm going the Black Album.
Yes.
And the possible there is going to be American Gangster. And if we're judging on that scale, I'm going Illmatic. And the possible is Stillmatic.
Mike, how can you say 96 Nas is the best MC you've ever heard, which is the year it was written, came out?
It was written as not a great album. I mean, it's not a classic album to me.
No, hold on. No. We just about to stop the whole conversation and fight about it was written. I'm tired of people talking about it was written like it's some sort of bad piece because he made 2 records that Biggie, Pac, and Jay get passes for making all the time. I'm so sick of that shit. I am. It was written as a classic, Mike. Even for what I think of Reasonable Doubt, which to me is the best that you're going to hear, Jay, you don't have anything on Reasonable Doubt lyrically that's fucking with Take It in Blood, Silent Murder, I Gave You Power, or The Message. Period. I just gave you 4 records. You talking about Jay's best record? I just gave you 4 tracks where.
I mean, let's keep it real. Reasonable Doubt's a much better record than it was.
No, hold on. It's not a much better record. Well, no.
It is.
Reasonable Doubt's one of the best rap albums ever.
Yeah. So, it was written as just not in that conversation, man. I'm
about to say it was written as not in that type of classic conversation. No. Reasonable Doubt is one of those. Is that the best rap album I've ever heard? Conversation.
You hear the albums that I named. I didn't go out there naming a volume 2 or whatever. I'm going like strictly, these are definitive classics. I don't think it was written as a definitive classic. I think we give it that because it's Nas.
You're wrong.
But I just don't.
Tell me what's wrong with the album.
The songs just aren't strong. He's rhyming his ass off.
What songs though? Tell me where it's not strong. That's why I'm saying every time I have this conversation, people are like,
the production's not strong. I mean, you got Nas coming. Mike, you got a collaboration with him and Dr. Dre. I'm trying to tell you. We got a collaboration with him and Dr. Dre on it. The Nas is Coming record's not strong. It's not a classic record, man. It's just not.
No, hold on. One of the reasons that I think that album is a classic is because that's not even one of the best songs on there, and that song's pretty damn good.
What, Nas is coming?
Nas is coming is a dope
That's
record,
not
Mike.
a good record, man. Come on, man.
Yes, it is.
You
man.
talking about
just,
Dr. Dre coming
Mike,
off of what
Mike,
he's coming off of? Come
Mike,
on, man.
No, Mike, I gotta call you out. The way you're judging Nas right now, you don't judge Jay like that, Mike. The production on Reasonable Doubt isn't stellar. Even Primo's beats aren't stellar. The Evils is a stellar beat. Friend or Foe's not a great beat, Mike. Can I Live is just a Isaac Hayes sample. Like the production Reasonable Doubt.
Can I Live is hard. What are you talking about? Hold on.
Mike.
The production on Reasonable Doubt is dope.
Mike. If you really want to start talking about it.
Dead Presidents?
No. Yeah. We talked about production on It Was Written. Irv Gotti took a Isaac Hayes sample and put a drum pattern behind it. Whoop-de fucking whoop, Mike.
You're talking about technicalities. I don't care about that. When you press play and you hear Can I Live coming through the speakers, I would much rather hear that than Nas is coming. I don't care what it took Dr. Dre to make that shit. And it's not dope.
Record than Nas is coming, but you're acting like It Was Written is like not a great record and not a classic, and you're wrong, Mike. How about this, Mike? If y'all be out here calling Kendrick shit classic with these beats that I be hearing him rhyme over, and y'all not calling It Was Written as a classic, I'm pulling all y'all's cards. This damn near the same shit. You don't like setup, Mike? You telling me beats on It Was Written ain't hot? You telling me you don't like Havoc on the setup in Live Nigga Rap?
I love Live Nigga Rap.
I gave you power. You don't like The Message. You don't like Silent Murder, Mike. You don't like Shootouts.
I love
Mike?
Silent Murder. I love Shootouts.
Mike, I just named 6 or 7 classic records.
I don't really like If I Ruled the World. I really don't like Black Girl Lost. I really don't like Street Dreams like that. You know what I mean? Like,
you named the singles. That's what I just said. Y'all are sitting up here holding him hostage about the same shit y'all give Big, Pac, and Jay credit for, which is making hit records. You just named the hit records on the album.
I also don't feel like
when Nas makes hits, y'all poke and criticize. When Jay and Big and Pac get to make whatever type of hit record they want.
But they make hit records better. They sound more natural on those records than Nas does.
I mean, Mike, it doesn't change the fact that he executed and the records are dope. You talking? That's what I'm saying. It's like people start talking about Nas's hit records. Listen to what you be saying when you be talking about Nas's hit records. Well, Biggie, Pocket, they do it better. It's like, well, shit, who does it better than them? Well, nobody. That would be the whole fucking point.
But I'm just saying, he doesn't do it better than people that aren't as skilled as him either.
I mean, no, Mike. I mean, you would be surprised how many MCs he has more hit records than. That's what I'm saying. It's like you talking about him like. Most of these niggas that y'all be talking about, they don't have no Hate Me Now or If I Rule the World.
Hate Me Now is not a great record. And you want to talk about records that didn't hold up, man. Come on, man.
You don't like Hate Me Now? Mike, Hate Me Now.
Come on, man. When's the last time you put on Hate Me Now, man? You talking about Volume 2 didn't hold up, and you want to sit here and talk about Hate Me Now?
Mike, when the last time you put on Change Clothes?
Jigga what? Oh, you know what? I listened to that maybe like around Christmas time. Jigga what? Jigga who? Listen.
I know you did.
Jigga what? Jigga who is better? Jigga what is better than Hate Me Now? Stop it. Jigga what is better than Hate Me Now?
No.
That's not even close, man.
Neither one of the records held up, but no. Hate Me Now better than Hard Knock Life. That's for damn sure. That shit didn't hold up.
You think Hate Me Now is better than Hard Knock Life? Nah.
What's holding up, Mike? I go by what the fucking shit really like say that it do, not what people say. Just because that shit did 5 million and was his first single doesn't put it in some sort of canonized. That's what I'm saying. Y'all give Jay, like Mike, you literally are sitting up here criticizing It Was Written, but you giving Jay a hall pass for having ghostwriters on the same show. This be my problem with y'all. Y'all don't critique Jay.
First of all, he didn't have ghostwriters.
You're like, I don't like Hate Me Now. I don't like I don't like the fact that this nigga had a whole bunch of writers in his prime. How about that? What's the bigger egregious foul?
I don't think Jay had writers. I do think that he might have been.
Just because he don't write don't mean he ain't have writers. If he memorizing shit, the other niggas spitting out, and it's finding its way on the tracks, it only take one time for you to be a felon, Mike. It only take one crime to be a felon. Yo,
man, listen. This is what I need.
You gotta shoot one bullet, Mike. one trigger, one bullet.
This is what I need,
crime,
and all
one
jokes
felony,
aside, this is what I
one
need.
F on the red sheet.
This is what I need. I'm not gonna go out there and cast aspersions just off of one conversation. Oh, listen to me. Listen to me. Let me talk. Look. Cool. Let me talk.
This shit wild.
I'm not gonna go out there and cast aspersions on such a person that has such an illustrious career without us actually getting particulars of this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to know what songs we talking about. I need to know what bars we're talking about. I do. Because clearly, unlike Drake, let's just call it what it is, because we're correlating this to Drake and with Quentin Miller. Unlike that one project that Quentin Miller was involved with, Drake sounded nothing like that after that, and honestly, he hadn't even been able to pick up momentum since then. Jay has been who he is on a high level before those guys, during those guys, after those guys, 10 years after that. And so, yeah, I want to just know what records we're talking about. I want to know what bars we're talking about. Maybe he was maybe he was training these guys so that they could get their bars up. Because he's always been a better MC than them. And they've even said that even when they were talking about this story.
I mean, he's not that much better than Beans in his prime. But, like, okay. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying or the depth of it. It doesn't take away from his greatness, but for the stratosphere that he is in. And since you want to bring up, and this is what I keep trying to say with the whole lyrical exercise thing, Mike, you already have
talking one record.
Stop for a second. Let me finish. This is very important.
Mm-hmm.
That's one more record that's been attached to him stealing than any of his other contemporaries when we're talking about the greatest of all time conversation. So that type of thing makes it a deal breaker because it's not attached to anybody else that's in that conversation. So he's out because none of those other guys did that, which means even it's for a song, he had an unfair advantage that they didn't have. And you and me talk about how we don't put Wayne and Drake up high, and it's because of shit like this. And when you are where he is, and when we're splitting hairs, that ain't the type of hair we about to split, because we can always, guys like me can just look at you and be like, I ain't never heard Nas take one fucking song from one of his niggas. Like, it's fucked up on a few levels, Mike. And if you just want to keep it to the rap shit, we can keep it to the rap shit, but he's out because you can't say that about Ice Cube. Mike, you can't say that about Ice Cube, Scarface, Big, Pac, Rakim, Nas, Kendrick. He's out if that's the case.
Nah.
Oskino gave you one track. Mike, and here's the thing about it, and you know this. If there's smoke, there's fire. We know there's more, Mike. Like, come on, keep this shit
Joshua says, all these niggas claiming they wrote for niggas, but they can't make a hit to save their lives. I think that's valid.
Jay's better than all of them. And that's why, Mike, that's why Beans laughed and said, you made it a hot line, I made it a hot song. Beans is laughing because Beans like, nah, he capable like that. He brilliant like that. He can take one of your hot lines. Beans gave... Mike, do you remember when Dave Chappelle left the Chappelle show because he heard that uncomfortable laugh that made him leave? Beans gave out one of them uncomfortable laughs like, yeah, he'll take your line and make a whole song out of it. That's what that laugh was about.
Maybe he was showing them.
What is y'all listening to?
Maybe he was showing the guys that he mentored how to make a record. Christopher D. George says,
Mike, did you just try to get away with that? He was trying to show the guys how to make a record. Is that why he dropped them as soon as he's got... Mike, it's funny how they emptied all these clips of rhymes out, and then they were gone once they stopped emptying out the clips of rhymes and started going... Like, when they started doing their own thing and trying to get their own shit together, their stuff never came to fruition. But when it was time for them to, like, get there and get on and help him with his shit and be around him, it was cool. When they were off on their own, it's like he never took them back. You can try to play it like that if you want to, Mike. It's just...
I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments, too. No, I hear what you're saying.
Don't tell me that he's the GOAT when he has to do stuff like that. If you're really the greatest of all time, you don't got to take one song from nobody about nothing. We'll never say this about Rakim, Mike.
Ric Flair says State Prop is disgruntled. Maybe Braveheart just ain't care to speak up. Christopher D.
They
George
can't write.
says Jay ain't been the same since Kanye. Now you know what? Listen, if this was Kanye saying some of this stuff, and I've kind of alluded to this in previous shows, I could see some of the. I mean, because let's be real. When we talk about Lucifer, I gotta get my soul right. And even when Jay tries to be funny on records, like the whole "Why you treat me like animal," that's very Kanye-esque. I will say that. Now, if Kanye were to,
He's had a lot of help the whole way, Mike. That's why he wasn't the greatest. Mike, before Oskino came out with this, my thing was always, is like, go look at his hit records and his biggest song. There's always been a lot of help involved. He's got the solo clip shit, and that's why I still have him high. But where y'all have him, a lot of the songs are dated, and there's a lot of fucking help everywhere.
But what's interesting about you...
And you don't see that with Rakim, Nas, Ice Cube, or Scarface. That was before Oskino just outed him a little bit.
But you know what? What's interesting about you and your position is the fact that you hold the highest records of him before those guys even came around. So how could you even hold this against him to such a degree?
Mike,
you say Reasonable Doubt Volume 1 is your joints.
I've always had him, Mike, somewhere personally. Like, not objectively, Mike, personally, he's never fell below 7. Personally. And objectively, I've never put him below 4, so I'm obviously a fan. And most of the reasons, objectively, I've never put him below 4 is because I'm aware of the catalog, but the way that he rhymed on those first 2 albums, Mike, just not too many guys have ever rhymed that way, and I'm never going to take that away from him even today. I know what I heard.
So where do you put him after this information? After this information you heard?
Mike, speaking of Hard Knock Life, when he's talking about the spitting some of the hottest verses rappers ever heard, I was thinking, like, yeah, I just got done listening to Reasonable Doubt Volume 1. Absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Where would I put him after this? I mean, Mike, he's not my number 1. It's just all you guys that have him at number 1. Y'all just need to understand y'all putting the guy at number 1 with some questionable shit behind him when the guys that y'all are putting up under him don't have that. And so that's not fair at that point.
Well, I will
understand what it is. He wasn't my number 1 anyway, but he's definitely never getting there. Mike,
where is he? I'm asking you, where is he based on this? Where is he?
I mean, on my list, Mike, on my list, he was already below Big, Nas, and Pac and Rakim anyway. I had him at 5. I told you, Mike, my thing with him is always between Scarface and Ghostface. Like, those are the next guys. Like, Big is better. Hold on. First of all, let's go ahead and get this out the way. Jay doesn't become Jay if Big doesn't pass, because Big does everything Jay does, except for Big does it better. Like, literally everything. So Big is better than Jay. If we just going...
But Jay made his best album when Big was alive.
Yeah, and how about this, Mike? And I think Reasonable Doubt is slightly better than Ready to Die. I don't think it's better than Life After Death, though.
You think Life After Death's better than Ready to Die?
Mike, I used to be like a real hardcore head that used to like really stick to Ready to Die. But I've said this and I'm going to keep saying this, like, that's probably the best performance on the mic of all time in totality.
Well, that's what Big thought when he finished. He said, we did it. I'm the best.
And it needs to be respected as such. That is arguably the best MC performance ever from beginning to end on the mic, Mike.
It's very impressive. And then when you actually put it in context of the time period, you can listen to it now and it might not be as special to people now. But in 97, rappers weren't that versatile on the mic and putting all that stuff on one album. That just wasn't happening. You were either making a hardcore album with maybe 1 or 2 radio records, or you were just making straight radio records. And everything that Life After Death had, it set a tone for everything that came after it. And the versatility that he showed on there, you're right. I mean, I could see that being one of the more impressive performances on the mic. You know, one of the most impressive performances, and I'm probably going to sound like a hypocrite when I say this, but I think Andre 3000 on Akumina, but, you know, just based on everything.
You can't do that after all the shit you talk. This been a ridiculous show, Mike. This show's been absolutely ridiculous. I need more water.
No, let me finish though. Let me finish.
I'm arguing with niggas about to pimp a butterfly, knowing that shit ain't right.
I will say this, man. I mean, but I've always said that. But if you put everything in context and all that Big had to do on his own on Life After Death, it's very hard pressed for me to find one individual MC performance that was more impressive than what he did on that album. From, like I said, What's Beef to, Fucking You Tonight to Notorious Thugs to, Somebody's Gotta Die to Nobody, that somebody kills you, I got a story to tell. It's crazy.
The first time that I heard the album, I was a little mixed out of he just obviously. I was living in Charlotte. I was in high school in Charlotte. They played the album on the radio in order. And then I remember listening to it the next day, like the unedited version, and I'm like, what was Fam trying to do? Like, he was taking it somewhere, Mike, because, and here's what I mean, he was taking it somewhere. He was literally showing you that he had mastered how to make the hardcore street joint and how to make the hit record and how to make it blend in an album. Let's go to the track listing. Somebody's Gotta Die is a street record, but then it goes to a hit record, which is Hypnotized. But then it goes to a street record, Kicking the Door. Then it goes to a single, which is Fucking You Tonight. Then it goes to a street record, which is Last Day. Then it goes to another party anthem, which is I Love the Dope. Then it goes into a street record, What's Beef. Like, Mike, he was resetting the format for how an album was about to flow.
Well, let me ask you this, man, because we did a poll earlier.
Hold on. So Jay's not better.
Okay, so, yeah. Well, I want to get off of that. I want to get off of that real quick. Because somebody asked a good question. And because we did a poll about this earlier in the week, somebody was like, is Life After Death better than All Eyes on Me? And it was interesting because we put that post on According to Hip Hop. We got 3,000 votes, and it showed that 65% of people felt that All Eyes on Me was better than Life After Death. What do you have to say about that? And it's interesting that you're a Tupac fan, and I would only assume that you don't agree with that outcome. You think Life After Death's better than All Eyes on Me? And if so, why?
I'm still working on that top 100 hip-hop albums of all time. Right now, Life After Death is looking like a number 5-ish all-time hip-hop album when you actually listen to it. Whew. Yeah, Mike, Life After Death is like that. Niggas need to go listen to Life After Death. There's nothing that album is missing. Because here's the thing about it. I told you, Mike, he gave you prophecy on there. If there's anything that Big was missing, it was depth. There's just enough prophecy on there to give it the depth that it needs. And there's stuff like Sky's the Limit and Missing You. So he's talking a little bit, just enough, Mike. It's like that, Mike. When
I always told people, like, Sky's the Limit is where you hear Big grow. Like, if you want to hear Big's growth, Sky's the Limit's that song where you're like, wow, this guy's a whole different MC.
So that's why Life After. So can I tell you something about Sky's the Limit? It's one of the worst songs on Life After Death, and that's how it ended up being so high. It's actually one of the worst songs on Life After Death when you go listen to the album.
You think so?
That's one of your worst songs. Yeah, no, it is. Beat-wise, lyric-wise, like, it's one of the worst songs, but that's what I'm saying. But that's one of the worst songs on your album. You're making one of the best rap albums ever, and that's what that album is, really. We really, like, it seems crazy to say it because he's passed. We really haven't given Life After Death its just due. Like, how about this, Mike? After Illmatic, The Purple Tape, Aquemini, it's hard to find an album that is succinctly better from beginning to end than Life After Death. Show it to me. It's hard.
So what would you tell somebody?
Mike, I had Doggy Style. Hold on, Mike. My list right now, it's Illmatic, Aquemini, Only Built for Cuban Links, Doggy Style, Life After Death.
Well, I mean, not to get too complex, why would you say that it's better than All Eyes on Me? Because obviously, I mean, we know Tupac fans are very strong out there, but obviously people think that All Eyes on Me is better than Life After Death. Why would you say Life After Death is better?
I don't think Pac finished the job. I was actually about to say on that list, I believe I have All Eyes on Me. Volume 1 has number 9. And so if we're just talking about Volume 1, Volume 1 is comparable to anything on Life After Death. Volume 2, not so much.
You split them up?
Mike,
we can't split them up. Let's put them all together.
Mike, I had no choice, Mike. Volume 1 is so fucking brilliant, Mike. Like, it deserves some. How about this, Mike? I broke it up because it deserves some real flowers. When you listen to Volume 1, you are listening to a top 10, 20 rap album. It's his only real album like that.
We can't just split up double disc, man.
Yes,
that's not fair, man. Nah. He put it out as one. It's what it is, man. So you're basically saying that the second half makes it where it's not even comparable to Life After Death, basically.
How about this? Hold on. What Life After Death is, from beginning to end, disc 1 and disc 2, All Eyes on Me is very much right there with it for Volume 1. Not so much on Volume 2, some missteps. He should have taken the best 5 tracks from Volume 2 and just made it one super long 18, 19 track album.
You didn't like the second half of All Eyes on Me like that?
It's not as good. It's not as classic. Ambition as a Rider is on Volume 1. Got My Mind Ate Up is Volume 1.
Yeah.
How Do You Want It is Volume 1. Two of America's Most Wanted is Volume 1. I Ain't Mad At You is Volume 1. California Love is Volume 1. Mike, I'm not bringing up what might be the best song on that album, which is No More Pain. That's Volume 1.
I thought I Ain't Mad At You was on the second half.
Nope, I Ain't Mad At You is track 11 on All Eyes on Me, Volume 1.
Is it?
The Hearts of Men, Mike, is by DJ Quick.
I'm tripping. I'm sitting here looking at it now. Yeah.
Mike, Every Other City We Go.
Yeah. All of it's Volume 1. Yeah.
That's one. Like, Mike, if we just talking Volume 1, that's top 10 rap album. It's like, Mike, you're gonna be hard pressed to find a rap. Mike, the albums that I put ahead of it was shit like Life After Death, The Chronic, The Low End Theory, Illmatic, Aquemini, Only Built for Cuban Links. Those were the only albums I think I put ahead of All Eyes on Me, Volume 1.
I'd rather
those
be.
Those are albums really better. I think It Takes a Nation of Millions is right before it or right after it.
It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back is one of the greatest hip hop albums ever. But it's a transformative record.
It's still the most important rap album ever made.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's transformative.
So the way I feel about It Takes a Nation of Millions is how I feel about To Pimp a Butterfly. If we're talking about importance, super high. If we're talking about if I'm putting that shit in and playing it, it's like, you better stop playing with me, dude.
Oh, no, I'm playing It Takes a Nation. But, that's me.
To Pimp a Butterfly, that's for damn sure. The Nation is rebel music.
Yeah, that shit crazy, man.
That shit rebel music.
Crazy.
Rebel rap music.
Well, you know how I feel about Public Enemy, too. I mean, I think that, Public Enemy, obviously, album for album, I couldn't say, I'm going to put it this way. Song for song, the top rap groups that everyone holds very high, and myself included, not a lot of them have better songs than Public Enemy's top songs. It's very tough for anybody to have a better song than Fight the Power, Welcome to the Terror Dome. I mean, these are very strong songs. Can't Trust It.
I was about to say, Mike, their best 10 songs might fade any other rap group. It's after
crazy.
That, there would be a problem. But, like, how about this? If you're talking about their peak, their best 10 songs, everybody in trouble, whoever was in a rap group. If they play that, because their best songs is the type of shit that sounds dope, is dope, makes you feel, makes you think. It's rebel music. It's revolution. Yeah.
Man, Rebel Without a Pause.
Night of the Living Bassheads, Mike.
Yeah, man. I got a letter from the government. Their top records, man, them shits is nearly untouchable.
Because hold on, because when it comes on and Chuck is on that shit, and you can't fuck with that.
Yeah.
Not at their peak. No.
I'm talking about bass.
No, how about this? No group has hit the mark on making epic, culture-altering rap songs like Public Enemy. Like, when they hit their mark, they hit their mark.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Man. And sonically, the chaos that was going on with the production, man, it's perfect, man. And you know what? And another thing about, we don't talk about this when we talk about the greatest MCs ever. And you got to be very, very, very special vocally to cut through all that stuff that's going on in that Bomb Squad production like Chuck D did. Not everybody can do that. Like you have
Chuck D.
you have
Hold
to
on,
have a voice to cut through that production. People can't rhyme over that Public Enemy stuff and shine through.
So, I mean, Chuck D still has one of the 10 best rap voices ever, in my opinion. How do you feel about that?
I say 5.
I don't know about
You
5
gotta
anymore.
cut through, man. Like
I mean,
the only
hold on,
people
hold on.
that off the top of my head I would put ahead of him, I'm putting Big Rakim. I'm putting Busta Rhymes. You might disagree with that.
No, I'm going with Busta.
But
you on that. Nas has a better voice than Chuck. I told you, Nas's voice goes through every track. That's part of the effect. It just
you're
goes
such a
through every
Nas
track,
fan.
Mike.
I disagree, but yeah, I mean, I get it. You're
Mike,
a Nas fan.
Mike, no. Other cats feel that way. When you hear his voice, he has one of those voices. Method Man is the same way. You hear his voice, it's like, I just want to hear him rap.
I give you Method Man. I give you Method Man. I think Snoop's voice and Q-Tip's voice are very distinctive. It's along with Slick Rick in that category, but I'm still gonna go with Chuck because Chuck's voice, man. I don't think Nas would be able to do what Chuck cutting through that Bomb Squad production like that. Wilbur says Nas' voice gets boring. I can see that.
I mean, do you want to know the thing about the Nas voice thing? That got told to me by heads older than me, that the thing with him with his voice. That wasn't even my thing. I was like, I think he has a dope rap voice, but like that's something that got told to me more say.
Yeah.
They told me it was like what did they say? It's like his voice is like, it's like a needle stabbing you.
Yo,
Like,
when Busta Rhymes got that remix he remade Shut 'Em Down, the Pete Rock remix. And I was like, whoo! So that's what I'm saying. Like, I would say Big, Rakim, in no order, Busta are the only 3 I would put ahead of Chuck. Because
I would put Method Man, Pac, and Nas ahead of Chuck.
I'm not mad about the Method Man and Pac. I'm not mad about that, but I
if you
disagree.
Put Chuck ahead of Nas and you don't like Nas's voice, I'm cool with that too. That's some head shit.
Yeah.
Like that goes into the nuance of lyricism though, and how he's hitting the beat with his voice on.
Method Man might have the best voice ever in hip hop, honestly. I mean, because that Ice Cream hook and Cream hook is like.
It was always Biggie, Method Man, and Pac for me as far as the rap voice.
Yeah, because you got to have a voice to pull off what Method Man pulled on Cream and Ice Cream. Now, what I will say about Busta Rhymes, nobody, and I mean nobody, could do that Victory hook. Nobody could do that Wild for the Night hook. You don't have the pipes to do it. It's crazy to even think.
It's not even pipe, it's the energy. It's the pipes and the energy.
And the energy. It's fucking crazy. Wild for the Night. I remember hearing Wild for the Night for the first time. I was like, what in the world? I've never heard a hook overtake everything the verses were about. Like, I was like, whoa.
I actually think that hurt Rampage's career.
Jeez. Wild for the Night, man.
Don't you think that hurt him?
Probably.
Like the way Busta showed him with the hook? Because I feel the way that you feel. It's like the hook was so bananas and you had never heard nothing like that before. You didn't even hear what Rampage was saying, really.
After the hook was over and the verses came in, he took the whole air out of the song, man. Like, it was like, I never seen nothing like it, man. Like, Busta Rhymes' voice is special. Now, I get it if people don't really like Busta Rhymes' voice like that. It could be an acquired taste, but I just think that the ability of it is like, whew.
I'm gonna put Q-Tip in there, and that's why they sound so good together. It's the opposite ends of the spectrum of what you love to hear in a voice. It's like the wild, raspy, high pitch, and then it's like the mellow, melodic, cool, casual, and then it comes together. That's why they sound so great together. Both of their voices are like all-time great, distinctive, and they are as artists. So like when they collab, it's beautiful. I know
we are about to get up out of here in a minute. Dang, the show is going really long tonight. But what do you think about Ice Cube's voice?
Well, Mike is the one person that I was thinking about that we didn't talk about. I'm glad you brought him up. You want to know what it is? Ice Cube has the type of... You want to know what, Mike? You know what Ice Cube does? If Ice Cube comes on when I'm pulling out of my driveway, it makes me mug all of my white neighbors immediately. And there's just something about that shit. Like, his shit come on and you...
Ice Cube, he jumped on that Welcome to the Terror Dome beat on Jacking for Beats, and man, it was like you kind of anticipate something coming, right? When you hear that dun 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 dun, dun, I was like, oh shit, Ice Cube is about to jump on this wagon.
Hey, right. You want to know what I think one of the best moments of his career is that he got vilified for?
What's that?
I loved when he made Be Clubbing. I loved
Did
that
you?
for him. I did.
I was gonna say
no, Mike.
I like
good. It's good when your favorite gangster rapper, social little commentator, that he knows how to have fun.
I like when he got on that Lil Jon stuff, man. That real nigga roll call, crazy.
Was bananas.
Here we come, boy. Real nigga shoot to kill, better run, boy. But I'ma tell you how I feel for the real nigga, rich nigga, go get a bitch. His voice is underrated. I would say that.
Mike, when we talked about that record, because I bought up the grand finale record, and you were like, no, not that one, the other one. I was like, oh yeah, yeah. Mike, you know, since you told me that, I put that shit in rotation. I be listening to that shit all the time.
Hard.
That shit hard. That shit hard. Ice Cube
man.
hard.
Ice Cube hard.
Mike, how about this?
You got Ice Cube over Jay, right?
No, so right there. So I mean, Mike, we talking about my personal top 10 or my objective top 10?
Let's go personal, because objectively, it's tough to argue.
You want my personal top 10 right quick? It's Nas, Rakim, Pac, Big. I'm gonna go Jay, Scarface, Ghostface, Black Thought, Pusha T. Personal.
Was that 10? I counted 9.
Hold on. Am I missing something?
We got one more, I thought.
Hold on. Nas, Rakim.
Mm-hmm.
J Big, Pac, Ghost, Scar, Thought, Pusha. Oh, yay, Room, Ice Cube.
Yeah. I love Cube, man. But yeah, Ice Cube's first 4 albums is crazy, and also, yeah, man, he was able to adjust to Lil Jon and all that.
Actually,
I think Death Certificate is his best album, in my opinion.
Mike actually switched that.
True to the Game's my favorite Ice Cube song, too.
Put Ice Cube ahead of Thought and Pusha T. I would have him at 8 on my personal list, then Thought.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were putting it in order.
No, that would be my order. I would go Nas, Rakim, Pac, Big, Jay, Scarface, Ghostface, Cube, Thought, Push. Ray would be my next guy.
You were really high on Ray, and you were really fighting for Ray.
There is no separating Raekwon and Ghostface. I'm so cut that out.
I love Ray, man. And I think
y'all have Ghost this high and not have Ray somewhere in. Mike,
well, it's like that Andre and Big Boy stuff, right? When people hold Andre so high.
Those guys are in the same. When Big Boy and Dre get together, Big Boy sitting over here, Dre sitting over there. When Ray and Ghost get together, it's like, so how we. What?
No, I see what you mean.
It's teamwork make the dream work, and so when you listening to Ray and Ghost together, which is going to be on all of their albums a lot, all one and the same. Ghost has had the better career, is the better storyteller, which is the big difference between them. Ray has the better voice and better delivery. Ghost is the better storyteller and song maker and album maker. But the gap is not wide. If I got Ghost at like 6, Ray's going to be about 4 or 5 spots behind. That's how it's supposed to be.
All right, well, we about to get up out of here. I know we like running over. Christopher George says that Rick Ross got a better catalog than most of them. And you said that Rick Ross's catalog ranks very high.
I'm not the guy to talk to. I'm about to say, I'm not the guy to talk to about that, because I said that Rick Ross's catalog is arguably top 10, 15 all time. You can put his catalog up with virtually Mike, outside of, I would say, Ghostface, Scarface, Nas, Jay, you could put his catalog up against anybody's and he might win.
Let's do that. Next week, let's talk about, barring there's no like.
I love Rose catalog. Hey, Mike, you want to know what? There ain't a that go by that I play some Ross shit. Ross makes dope music.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that next week.
I wanted Ross on our top 25. Somebody wanted Kanye.
Since you're naming, yeah. We'll talk about that too. Since you're naming top 10, next week let's do this. Let's do top 10 catalogs.
Yeah, I'm with the shit.
Let's do that next week.
It's gonna be fun getting on the back end of it. We need to bring up somebody else in the catalog conversation. KRS-One and Common.
I think Common has a very underrated catalog. What I will say about Common, I'll probably say more about this next week.
I think to apologize for some of these whack ass albums.
I think that the further he continues on his catalog, the weaker he's making his catalog. Yeah, it's like we were arguing Jason Kidd in the barbershop today, and I pulled up Jason Kidd's stats, and I didn't realize that Jason Kidd's career point average was 12.
And like 11 or 12.
Yeah, and it's like he did that by just playing so long. That's what Common's doing right now.
Yeah, so how about this? So you want to talk about the Jason Kidd thing right quick? It's like people think he's better than Gary Payton, but he's not. They're from the same hood, you know. Kidd's a little younger, but he's not.
Kidd's better than Gary
Payton. Averaged more. Hold on, no. Gary Payton averaged more. There's two sides to the floor.
You're right.
So Gary Payton's the best defensive point guard of all time.
All time?
You know a better defensive point guard than Gary Payton?
Not off the top of my head, but let me think about it, and I'll get back to you.
You don't know him because he don't exist. Gary Payton. Mike, how about this? You know the one
he got a defensive player of the year. Yeah.
No, not even that. You know the one time Michael Jordan didn't average 30 points in the finals, right?
Oh, he was thinking about his father. Stop it.
Mike, he averaged 25 points. Some of that's Gary Payton. Mike usually
he was
averaged
thinking about his father. He was trying to win it on Father's Day. Come on now. As Jordan would say, I had no problem with the glove.
Mike, it was a 6-game series. He averaged 25 points. It's the only time he didn't average at least 33.
What do you have to say about, and Andre just brought up a great point. What do you have to say about Stockton being by far the all-time steal leader if Gary Payton's the most defensive point guard of all time? Because no one's ever going to catch Stockton in steals or assists. Ever.
I actually would probably put Stockton probably at second or third defensively, though, because of his ability to steal the ball and disrupt defenses with his long arms and hands. He's just not the one-on-one ball defender that Payton was. Gary Payton in his prime could take somebody like Michael Jordan, who should bust your ass for 40, and keep him at 25 to 30, which within itself is a fucking miracle in the finals. That's what I'm saying. If Jason Kidd in his prime would have played against Michael Jordan would have averaged double that.
I'm going to say this and we're going to leave. Michael Jordan was just trying to win that finals on Father's Day.
Yeah, Gary Payton's a better shooter. Hold on, Gary Payton's a better shooter. He's a better defender.
Then who?
Jason Kidd.
No, he's not.
Go look at the percentages, Mike. Go look at the numbers. Numbers don't
Jason
lie,
Kidd is what? Top 5 all time in threes made?
No. Mike, he learned how to shoot a set 3 shot off pick and rolls with Dirk in Dallas his last 5 years. Gary Payton in his prime and Jason Kidd in his prime shooting the ball is not a contest, nor is it a contest defensively. Now, if you want to talk about IQ for passing the ball, court vision, very few like Jason Kidd. He's Magic, LeBron, Stockton like that, but that is
he's a much better rebounder than Gary Payton too.
Not much better. Gary Payton averages about 6 rebounds a game at 6'3".
All right. Much better. Well, next week we're gonna talk about top 10 catalogs, unless there's some crazy album that comes out. I mean,
Mike,
somebody's coming. I don't
know. There won't be any album coming out. You want to know why? Because these major labels have these motherfuckers by the balls and the scrotum. And these niggas is like, I need my budget. And these niggas is looking back at them like, what budget? It's a whole pandemic. We ain't giving you shit.